Come in. Elisia greeted the person behind the door with a bright face like someone who had met a savior. At her call, Sarah entered with the maids carrying a bathtub. We brought bath water. The maids skillfully filled the basin with water and placed towels next to it. No need for service. Get out, everyone. When Sarah lit an aromatic candle, Franz ordered sternly. Sarah and the maids complied with his order and withdrew quietly. Aleisha took a deep breath. Maybe because of the scent of perfume from the candle, or because of the steaming tub, she felt her body getting hotter. What an embarrassment. Aleisha bit her lip. To feel excited just because she looks at Franz and stands close to him. Franz seemed calm, while she was getting excited on her own. Are you okay? You look very tired, let me help you. There's no need for that. I should. Elisia tried hard to push him away. But Franz, not knowing what was on her mind, closed the open curtain and seized her by the shoulders. When Elisia looked at him in astonishment, Franz raised his lips and said, "Because I want to be the only one who sees your naked body." Elisia's eyes twitched at his unexpected frankness. He didn't seem embarrassed, despite her confusion. As if he had been preparing for this from the beginning, he slowly lowered the hand holding her shoulders to her waist. Elisia surrendered to his touch without saying anything. Whenever his hand touched a place, it felt like a hot flame was spreading. When her legs began to weaken, Elisia quickly grabbed the curtain. Now she is truly in crisis. Franz, stop. When Elisia tried to stop him, he grabbed her slim waist. He looked at her steadily and said in a low voice, "I want to spend a decent time in the newlyweds' room. What do you think?" Franz's eyes moved to her hand holding the curtain. Elisia's hand was shaking. Perhaps because she was ashamed at the thought of approaching in broad daylight, the back of her hand was red. Franz pretended not to notice her changes and trapped her between the curtain and his body. "Can I help you make the decision more easily?" In contrast to the confused Elisia, Franz seemed calm. Just from his face, no one would guess that he is. "Since when did you become like this, haha?" Franz laughed softly as if Elisia's question was funny. When she looked up at him, he read the question in her gaze and answered, raising the corner of his eye. "Strange question." "What?" "Since when, you say?" "Just thinking about you makes me like this." Franz whispered gently in Elisia's ear and pulled her waist to him. Elisia came to him without resistance, and their lips touched. Their hot lips merged, their breaths mingling together. Elisia grabbed Franz's shoulders with her hands that were holding the curtain. Their bodies came closer, her soft body merging with his strong chest. Franz put his hand on her back and untied the ribbon knot. The man's large hand moved delicately and began removing the intricate layers of the dress one by one. When Elisia regained consciousness, she was ready to enter the tub. Elisia looked at Franz with misty eyes as she breathed quickly. His golden eyes looked at her and glowed like the sun. "Now, have you made your decision?" "Yes." "Do what you want, Franz," Elisia said to him with a red face. "But, come in with me." At Elisia's answer, Franz's eyes sparkled sharply. He took off his jacket as if he was waiting for it and got into the tub. For a while, the sound of water spraying echoed in the Baron's wife's room. Maybe it wasn't at that moment. Aleisha remembered the time at Ambrose's, and hearing Franz's voice in her ears. When Elisia blinked, Franz continued with a serious expression. There were many opportunities. In the carriage on the way back from Ambrose to the palace, no, but here after the return, or perhaps on the day we returned. Wait a minute. Elisia quickly closed Franz's mouth with a red face. All he remembers, with all seriousness, were embarrassing moments. It was surprising that she hadn't gotten pregnant yet. According to Sarah, the fame of the intimate relationship between the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess had reached beyond the empire. Perhaps for this reason, Franz believed more that not having an heir was a heavenly punishment for him. For any other couple, this should have been news a long time ago. Liz, Franz wore a grim expression as Aleisha closed his mouth. When he relaxed his broad shoulders, Elisia sighed and lowered her hand. What does it matter when it happened? I'm just happy. Aleisha laughed lightly at the sight of the exhausted Franz. Moments ago, he was talking about embarrassing things without hesitation, and now he says that he lost his composure because of the news of the pregnancy. Are you angry? Of course not. Elisia smiled and said, I was just a little surprised because I didn't know you had a naughty side. I wasn't going to make a joke. Franz worried that Elisia would get it wrong and said, as you said, what is important is something else, and I did not think about that. And what really matters? An angel has come to us. Franz smiled warmly and kissed Alicia's forehead. He continued, kissing the corners of her eyes lightly. This time I will protect the angel at all costs. Elisia leaned on Franz. A low voice came out from his strong body supporting her like an unshakable tree. I will never make you sad again. It was a voice full of determination. I should have asked him to stop there. Elisia regretted, rubbing her temples with her fingertips. Since she was still in the early stages of pregnancy, they decided not to announce the news until the fetus stabilized. So, no one knew about Elisia's pregnancy except the two of them and Aaron. But remove all scented candles. What? But, Your Highness, when Her Highness the Princess always takes a shower, it might be harmful to the princess, so remove it. And don't bring any more aromatic candles. The towels are very rough. As she was preparing to take a bath as usual, Isolde was deeply confused by the Crown Prince's comments. Isolde, who took over the position of head maid in the princess's palace after Sarah, served Elisia without fail. So, it was natural to feel aggrieved by the Crown Prince's unjustified criticism. But she cannot contradict the Crown Prince's words. Isolde opened her mouth in surprise, then lowered her head. My apologies, Your Highness. I will re-prepare. While preparing, reduce the water temperature. What? It's very hot. The princess might panic when she gets into the tub. Franz. Your actions now are the most surprising. Elisia swallowed her words that almost reached her throat and smiled. Isolde, can you leave us for a while? I have something to talk about with His Highness. Good. Isolde answered politely and left, and Elisia sighed deeply. Elisia pressed her throbbing forehead. When she wordlessly placed her hand on her forehead, Franz approached with wide eyes. What's wrong? Do you have a fever? Are you in pain? Yes, thanks to you. Thanks to me? I feel like I'm going to get sick because of you, Franz. Elisia looked at Franz with a serious face. It can't continue like this. Although they had not announced the news of the pregnancy openly, Franz's actions now were no different from announcing to the world that the Crown Princess of the Loran Empire was pregnant. Franz, listen to me carefully. Elisia said seriously to Franz, who was looking at her without understanding.